Hi, it's Terry Ryder from Hotspotting. I'm going to be speaking to you over the next week or so about price information. And I'm going to be attempting in a series of short broadcasts through this medium to correct some of the misinformation that's been put out there by mainstream media, which is generally pursuing a theme that prices are falling everywhere across Australia and we have a national property downturn. And of course, it isn't so. There are plenty of strong rising markets across Australia. I'm going to be talking about some of them and trying to put some factual information out there about what's happening with prices of various sorts. So today, in the first of this series of broadcasters on what's really happening with prices, I just want to focus on some new information that's come out this week on land prices, because the story there is one of substantial rises in some of our cities and smaller rises in other cities. The general theme, which has come out of the residential land report published by the Housing Industry Association, is that on average across the state and territory capital cities in the past 12 months, the median price for residential land has increased 15.5%. Now, a big chunk of that increase has come in Melbourne, where lot prices, the median lot value in Melbourne in the last 12 months has increased 38%, rather amazing. But that's continuing a trend in recent years where Melbourne land prices have just been rising, very fast and a lot. And it's the reality that Melbourne hasn't been producing enough land fast enough to keep up with demand. And that speaks to some of the inherent problems in the system, bureaucratic delays in getting approvals and getting land to the market. And that's all part of the affordability issue, because those delays are adding to costs. And so massive increase in land prices in the last 12 months in Melbourne. Perth has had a 14% increase in the median lot price there. And then other cities such as Brisbane, Sydney, Adelaide, Hobart have had small increases in their land prices on a median value basis in terms of the median price for residential allotments. But the size of allotments is changing, and so it's useful to look at prices on a per square metre basis, which this report from the Housing Industry Association, the Residential Land Report, does. And it comes up with some different figures. In fact, in most of the cities, their prices have risen by more than the median lot value on a per square metre basis. So we have Perth up a moderate 2.5% on that basis. Sydney's up 6.5%. Brisbane's up 7.5%. This is the increases over the last 12 months. Adelaide's up almost 9%, and Melbourne in those terms is up about 27%. So very, very strong rises in values for residential land. The allotments, the prices that people pay to buy typical allotments to build houses in our major cities. Right now in Sydney, you pay almost $480,000 for the typical residential allotment, which is, it's just crazy high. And it's important to understand that the actions and policies of politicians at all levels of government play a big part in the price being as high as it is. Taxes, fees, charges, delays, the zoning system, they all play a part in pushing up land prices in our major cities. So in Sydney, you pay $480,000 for the median allotment. In Melbourne, it's $375,000. Considerably cheaper in some of the other cities, but still expensive. I think $285,000 in Perth, $239,000 in Brisbane, $220,000 in Adelaide, and the cheapest, Hobart, just under $150,000. So yeah, interesting. Very, very different from the general theme in media of residential prices falling all over the place. Certainly it's not the case with land. It's land prices are rising in all of our major cities, but particularly, according to these figures, in Melbourne firstly and Perth secondly. And in Sydney, where the increases in the last 12 months have been relatively modest, you still pay a whopping almost $480,000 for the typical residential allotment. That's before you even consider building a house upon it. So very expensive to get in the new house and land market in Sydney. also Melbourne. That's it for now. We're making further broadcasts in coming days and weeks about markets where prices are actually rising contrary to the general media theme. That's it for now. I'll talk to you again soon on this topic.